and welcome back to the Supernaturalist, the podcast where we dive deep into the terrifying creatures and lore that inspired some of our favorite supernatural stories. I'm your host, Shelley Meyer, and today we're talking about one of the most haunting creatures in folklore, the Wendigo. If you've seen the second episode of Supernatural, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you who haven't, or if you just want a refresher, buckle up, because we're going to explore the Wendigo's dark origins, its sinister MO, and how it fits into the supernatural universe. Plus, we'll talk about how you can kill one if you ever find yourself face to face with one. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a Wendigo? It's a monster born of desperation. At its core, the Wendigo is a creature that comes from Native American folklore, particularly in the Algonquin-speaking tribes of northern United States and Canada. In these cultures, the Wendigo is more than just a monster. It represents the darker side of human nature, the consequences of breaking taboo, and the consequences of desperation. The Wendigo is said to be a spirit of greed and hunger, so powerful and insatiable that it takes on a physical form. It's often described as a gaunt, emaciated figure with skin stretched tight over a skeletal frame. Its eyes are hollow, and its breath is like a cold wind, and probably not very good scent, considering it eats human flesh. But the most terrifying aspect of the Wendigo is its hunger. It's said to crave human flesh, cannibalism being the ultimate act of desperation that turns a person into one of these creatures. But how does one become a Wendigo? From human to monster. The transformation into a Wendigo typically begins with the act of cannibalism. In some versions of the story, a person finds themselves stranded in the wilderness, starving and unable to find food. In their desperation, they resort to eating human flesh to survive when they happen upon other humans. But once they do, they're cursed. That hunger that led them to commit such an act takes over, and they transform into that Wendigo. Others believe that the Wendigo spirit can possess a person, driving them to commit cannibalism. And once the deed is done, the victim is transformed into a Wendigo, damned to forever hunt and consume human flesh. Kind of a symbol of the human fear of losing one's humanity and the consequences of succumbing to our most primal instincts. What's the Wendigo's modus operandi, or MO? The Wendigo's method of hunting is terrifying in its efficiency. It's a predator that never stops hunting. The creature is said to have incredible strength, heightened senses, and the ability to track its prey for miles. It can move silently through the woods, stalking its victims, and its hunger is so great that it will even hunt in harsh winter conditions. In Supernatural, the Wendigo is portrayed as a relentless force of nature. It hunts by isolating its victims, drawing them into the woods by mimicking a human voice calling for help, where it can attack without interference. Its victims are often found in remote areas, making it easy for the Wendigo to lure them into its lair. It uses fear and confusion of its prey to feed its insatiable hunger. And the Wendigo's relentless pursuit is something that's both terrifying and tragic. It's an extremely fast creature. Seeing it before it's on you is almost impossible. Once it has its victim, the Wendigo kills by ripping apart its prey and feasting on its flesh. Again, ew. The body is often left behind, but the Wendigo will continue its hunt until the hunger is momentarily satisfied. Is there a real creature like the Wendigo? The Wendigo is, of course, a mythical creature, but its origins are tied to real cultural fears and historic events. The Wendigo legend is often linked to the harsh winters of the northern forest and the isolation that came with living in such environments. Cannibalism, unfortunately, has been part of human history in extreme circumstances like famine or siege, and the Wendigo embodies that desperation in a supernatural way. While there's no specific evidence of an actual Wendigo, there are real-world phenomena that could have inspired the legend. For example, the condition known as Wendigo psychosis was once thought to affect some individuals in northern cultures. It's kind of a psychological disorder in which the sufferer is consumed by the desire to eat human flesh. While it's no longer considered a diagnosable disorder, it's a frightening reminder of how thin the line between reality and myth can be when it comes to fear and survival. The Wendigo in Supernatural? Let's talk about how the Wendigo was portrayed in Supernatural. In Season 1, Episode 2, titled Wendigo, Sam and Dean take on their first big hunt together. The brothers are called to a remote forest in the Colorado Rockies where several people have gone missing. They discover that the victims have been taken by a Wendigo, and they must use their hunting skills to track it down and stop it. The show takes some liberties with the lore, of course. Supernatural's Wendigo is a terrifying monster that uses its prey's fear and isolation to hunt them. And it has supernatural abilities that make it even more formidable enemy. Unlike the mythological Wendigo, which may or may not be a physical creature, the supernatural Wendigo is very much a flesh and blood monster with an unquenchable thirst for human blood. Now, how do you kill a Wendigo? I'm pretty sure that's the question on everybody's mind right now. How do you kill a Wendigo? In Supernatural, the solution to defeating the creature is a simple but effective: fire. Just like many of the monsters the Winchesters face, the Wendigo can be killed by burning its body. Sam and Dean use this knowledge to set a trap, finding the Wendigo in its lair in an abandoned mine, and eventually killing it by setting it on fire. But there's more to the story than just fire. The key to killing a Wendigo in both the show and in folklore is understanding its nature. Wendigos are cursed beings, driven by an insatiable hunger that never stops. And while fire is a reliable method, the deeper solution lies in breaking the curse. Whether through ritualistic means or, in the case of Supernatural, simply ending the creature's existence with a well-placed shot of fire. Wendigos in popular culture. Now, beyond Supernatural, the TV show, the Wendigo continues to be a popular figure in horror films, books, and games. Its disturbing nature and ties to human desperation make it an enduring symbol of fear and survival. From Until Dawn to The Last of Us, the Wendigo's legacy, the relentless predator, keeps it relevant in modern storytelling. And it probably will for many more stories to come. So, to recap, the Wendigo is a creature born of desperation. It transforms from human to monster through the act of eating human flesh. And it's driven by an unrelenting hunger. The Wendigo's MO is to stalk and kill its prey, often using fear and isolation to lure its victims in. While there's no physical creature like it in reality, the Wendigo serves as a chilling reminder of the human capacity for greed and the consequences of desperation. In Supernatural, the Wendigo is a terrifying adversary for the Winchesters, one they have to confront using both their knowledge and their resourcefulness. Fire may be the weapon of choice to destroy the creature, but understanding its curse is what ultimately leads to victory. So that's it for today's episode of Supernaturalist. Thank you for joining me as we dug deep into the dark lore of the Wendigo. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe, comment, and share. And join me next time as we continue exploring the fascinating world of supernatural creatures and the TV show Supernatural. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, not all monsters are made of flesh and bone. Have a great weekend.